Well, figured I'd get back on here. Of course, have to watch these fellers on YouTube here, just kind of skimming through stuff. Of course, world's coming to an end. We're gonna have lock-ins and big bad things gonna happen to the country. And oh man, you just they got the inside. They know because all their buddies and law enforcement, military, my God, they let them know what's going on. I don't know if you guys pay attention to any of that stuff, but I just kind of skim through it, just kind of pay attention to it a little. And it's the same stuff they've been saying for, I don't know, decade. I mean, come on. Really? It's, something could happen at any time. I mean, that's possible. Don't know. Don't have a crystal ball. Don't know what to tell you. But I can tell you one thing. You say enough stuff like Notre Dame says, and say it generally and vaguely, yeah, you can read into anything you want. And, oh, that came true, and that came true, and blah, blah, blah. Well, we're still here, aren't we? You know, if you really look at the situation, if you were going to have something happen, wouldn't you make sure that the supply chain has already been disrupted? And what I mean by that is we're in short supply of things. So you you won't be able to get things like you were. Now, if you start noticing things like that, like you go to a gas station, like, we don't have any gas. Or, yeah, we're waiting for a delivery. You check it out. There's other places in the area, or you call up your cousin who lives halfway across the country. Yeah, same thing going on here. Yeah, that's when you start worrying. That not really worrying, but you could be pretty sure something's up. Okay. You go in the grocery store and you start seeing empty spaces on the shelves, especially stuff that's perishable. And then all of a sudden, you call around, like I said, again, to some families, friends, and stuff. I've been noticing that in the stores too. So it's not just your region, it's others also. You might think, well, something's up. Because they want to catch you with your pants down. Is what they want. They want to make sure things aren't out there. Because there'll be enough rioting that the rioting will lead to a lot of deaths. And that's what they want. Because if you got a population and the stores are full, gas stations are full, everything's full, people go out and they steal what they want, kill a few people, run home, and all hell breaks loose. Now you're fighting a population that is they're going to eat okay for a while, maybe have water for a while, have some gasoline for a while, so on and so forth. But if you could get a population that is desperate because it just ain't enough to go around, you could probably kill half the population off. They'll do it themselves, just from the standpoint, that's what they do. They panic and they get crazy and do stupid shit. So if you start seeing things like especially gasoline, because well, why would gasoline start being? Well, because the government's stockpiling it. Perishables. Why aren't you getting it? Well, because the government's stockpiling it. You know, they're taking it and they're freezing it, you know, and so on and so forth. And then too, a lot of it comes from farmers. And you got to destroy the farmers. So, yeah. Because you honestly think farmers start having a real problem. What's farmer do? Cattle prices drop, that drops. Hell, it costs more to feed them. Because grain prices and feed prices go up. So a lot of guys say, man, I'm just get rid of this stuff and we'll come back to it later. We'll get back into it. Now your big guys that you know, I mean, they tens of thousands of cows, then they're milking them. All those aren't going to make it to market. And the farmer may be sitting back going, well, what do we do? Well, we send them to auctions. Well, some people will be there to buy them up, but a lot of people that are in the business will go, now's not the time to be buying them because we can't turn around and sell them. A little bit of a gas crunch here. You know, feed costs too much. So these guys, some of them will back out of it. What you really want to do is pay attention to the commodity prices on what's going on with food. Oh, you can pay attention to the bonds, and you can pay attention to a lot of that stuff, and they manipulate it anyway. It's all manipulated now. The money supply, all that stuff is all manipulated. A little harder to manipulate. You can manipulate it, but it has to go somewhere. You know, a lot of farmers may just sit there and maybe sitting in their bins, waiting for the prices to go up even more. The cattle, well, we'll feed them, but why would you want to feed cattle, you know, $7, $8, $10 corn? You'd rather get rid of the damn cattle, unless the cattle went way the hell up, and the slaughterhouses are taking them, and you're making off pretty good. But then if that happens, the prices in the stores, because there'll be a surplus, you would think it would drop, but it won't. And is it all going to make it to the stores, or are they going to slaughter it and freeze it and ship it to the underground bunkers? You just don't know. That's why you got to keep your eyes and ears open on things. So when you get some baboon out here going, squealing like a little monkey or something, I've been doing it for so long. Oh, one day they'll probably be right. But what day is that? They don't know. Oh, but we're getting this. Oh, we're getting this. You know, they'll say, oh, I'm a prepper. I'm a survivalist. You know, all you're doing is trying to make a buck off YouTube. That's all you're trying to do. It's like, why don't you go and get a fucking job? Oh, that's right, means you make more off YouTube than you do working a job. I get it, you know. So, a lot of this stuff, and they're always most of them are trying to sell you something. Not all of them, but a lot of them are trying to sell you something. Oh, dude, come to our seminar, you know, barter, 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 gold, 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 and they've confiscated gold before. So, You know, and then it becomes contraband. You get caught with it. Well, they're just going to take it from you. Maybe just beat knots on your head. Maybe just kill you. Maybe throw you in a prison. I don't know. But it won't be good for you. So, yeah. Your best indicators are what's going on at your gas stations and what's going on in your fresh food. You know, I'm talking about fish and chicken, pork, beef, those things like that. And even your fresh vegetables. Watch what commodity prices are doing. If the stuff starts going up, somebody's creating a shortage. It's usually when you have plenty, somebody's profiting on it, and it ain't the farmer. So, that's really all I got on here to talk about was that. Because I know there's people out there that they just, you know, it's like how many times have you heard, oh, next Monday, oh man, better get out of the market, better get your money out of the banks, better do this, better do that. Monday rolls around, nothing. Next Monday, nothing. A month of Mondays, nothing. You see, they're always out here, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Yep. Just pay attention. Oh, I never did finish that one story that time about. It was called The Castle, I think it was, and Robert Redford was in it, and the guy that played in Sopranos was in it. He played the commandant. So he wanted to show, and Robert Redford was some general that didn't obey orders, went in and did what he felt he had to do, got court-martialed, got sent here, and of course this guy's a colonel, you know, commandant of the camp. And, you know, he was impressed because this guy's, you know, wrote books, and, you know, he's a general and so forth. They didn't have ranks in the place and stuff. But anyway, he was going to show him how you control the men. Like, he's a general, he didn't know how to do that. But it's a little pissy ass little commandant, mindless little twat that he was, says, looks at his head guard guy and says, hey, tomorrow only put out one basketball. So they put out one basketball and the fights broke out, and the men were at each other's throats. You know, the inmates were at each other's throats and fighting because there's only one ball, you know, out there for everyone to use. And, you know, he thought, I'll show you how to control men, you know. Don't think the government won't do that. Control you by shortages here, there. See, that's what I'm saying. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Pay attention to the commodity prices. And if something's going down in your area, you call up somebody else across the country that you can trust and talk to them and see if it's happening there also. It may not be. It may just be that specific area. You know? See, some things are regional. So, like I always said, if you got a little extra cash, it's always prudent to buy a little extra. And you're better off buying canned goods. But, I mean, 25-year shelf life foods. It's like, boy, there's a lot of people that bought that shit up, and it's like, it's been 25 years since when? Oh, that's right, 2000. And people are, oh, we got a pie. And people are looking at it like, well, I've had that for 25 years now. Yeah, or longer. And have you used it? Maybe if the power went out. I mean, for an extended period of time. Maybe. Like I said, if you got a grocery store in your basement, you kind of went a little too far. Unless you got a huge, huge family, now that's different. So people, God gave you a brain, and God is ultimately in charge. God has already told you what's going to happen. Read the Bible. He's already told you what's going to happen. And it's because God, and His judgments, say, just remember that. God and His judgments. Not the devil. The devil does not have that kind of control. It doesn't have that kind of power. So hopefully, everyone's doing well, or as well as can be. Well, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head that's worth even talking about. Yeah. You folks, you take care now.